Hello Internet, this is BoneCarlos paddling through level 72 to bring you another video game review. This one, as you just saw, is going to be Homefront, and it's going to be brought to you by Super Beast 811. Before we get into it, I'd also like to point out that if you had a game that you'd like me to review, any game at all, leave a message down below and I'll see what I can do. Remember, as always, no AAA games, so underappreciated or underperforming games, or just your personal favorite. Leave them down below, and I'll have at them. But today we're going to be talking about Homefront and its things, which is pretty much the feeling I get from this entire game. Just hesitancy on the part of the story, and just everything in general is just not what it should be. And I don't think that's the game's fault. I think that was the creators' fault for not having a solid direction to play. I know they were trying to say, oh, having a fight in your own backyard, or Homefront, repelling invasions, blah blah blah, this and this and that, but it never really punched through that wall for me. Everything was a bit rushed with the character development. From one stage to the next, you go from one character being normal, okay, and then like 20 minutes later they're completely just shell-shocked and destroyed, which I know is what happens in combat. But then 10 minutes later they're up and running, no problem, no big deal. And that's just in the characters themselves. I guess from what the game is tries to make you feel story-wise, you just don't get that impact. I mean, crazy stuff happens and you feel like, no big deal. It felt like the developers just throwing things into the storyline, some trying to be iconic, huge, big, and it just didn't hit. It didn't give that oomph. So that's kind of where it fell short to me as part of this game. Everything else was just very competent, targeting the weapons, sound, graphics, our art style. Everything was just kind of average, and in a sea that's inundated with so many first-person shooters, so many great first-person shooters, this game easily fell through the cracks. And I could see why, given that, given the story mode, at least. And that's pretty much how I felt. It was a little bit longer than I thought, actually, than most first-person shooters single-player modes. I think it was around 10-15 hours or so, give or take, which was a nice little surprise, because it didn't really feel boring, like, oh man, I gotta go through another level, which is, I think, the best part of this game, was that nothing was ever really boring. I mean, you moved around to locations, you got to pilot certain vehicles, and it kept things fresh, which is probably the only saving grace I could say about the single player mode of this game. Other than that, everything is just pretty average. Technically, I also like to point out that there was a couple of just detection issues and just kind of everything just kind of jumping around that really just dragged you out of the immersion, which is really weird, especially when a game nowadays that have some sort of budget. But that was on the single player mode. Let's go ahead and move on to the multiplayer mode, which the feeling from single player mode just carries over right onto the online play, because everything is just subpar, kind of average, nothing too crazy. The game modes are just basically the same, and nothing hits you in the face. Unfortunately, I couldn't get past level 5 because EA decided to do something very brilliant by installing activation codes on all of their new games. So if you rent or buy it used, you have to purchase an activation code to play online or to get past a certain level, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I'm not going to get into that at all because it's a stupid decision. But in this game, what I did like that was implemented was the perks and upgrades and all that little stuff that you get. It was pretty smooth, pretty straightforward. And from what I saw, there was a little bit of a deep system involved in everything. I mean, to get your perks, how to unlock them, to spend your points. There was quite a degree of customization that I didn't think was going to be there, and I particularly enjoyed it. There was one issue where it was just random. I don't know if this is prevalent or anything like that, but there was a guy that was killing me across the map just by knifing. I saw the kill cam and he just knifing the wall and he just killed me. It was just awkward because he ended up like 103 to like 2 deaths, but his team still lost the match because it wasn't team deathmatch. Whatever, no big deal. But that's pretty much my take on this game in its entirety. I mean, I would seriously just pass this up. Like, I didn't even delve into see how much this game costs, because you really shouldn't spend your money on it. Just if a friend has it, go ahead and borrow it, but don't. Other than that, don't spend any money, and save it up for another good first-person shooter that comes out there. Hope you guys enjoyed. If not, let me know what I can do to make it more enjoyable for you. And I'm gonna get on out of here because there's a squid coming up on my 6.